You are 19 years old, lying beneath a Buick in your father's garage in Massillon, Ohio. It is September 10, 2001, and your life still feels completely ordinary. Gas costs $1.49, the internet screams through a modem, and your CD binder rides shotgun. Your father works nearby, while you think about finishing your certification and staying close to home. Someday, you might take over the garage and continue the life your family built. Your girlfriend Megan is studying nursing, and your future together feels easy to imagine. On Friday nights, you argue about movies inside Blockbuster like those decisions actually matter. Your biggest problems are ordinary ones, because you still believe tomorrow can be planned. Nothing heroic is happening around you, and nothing seems complicated enough to become history. You are simply a 19-year-old kid living inside a normal American life. Another evening passes among tools, tires, old cars, and the smell of oil and coffee. Your father works nearby, completely unaware that this ordinary evening will become unforgettable. The bulky computer still sits inside the back office, connected to the world by telephone wires. Your phone is just a phone, and your music still lives inside a plastic CD binder. In 2001, America feels slower, smaller, and strangely predictable compared with what comes later. You leave the garage and climb into your old pickup beneath the Ohio evening sky. Your CD binder sits beside you while quiet streets pass outside your windshield. Massillon looks exactly as it always has, with houses, lawns, parked cars, and familiar roads. You think about certification, the family business, and Megan waiting somewhere across town. You are not thinking about history, because history still feels like something belonging to strangers. That evening, you sit beside Megan on your truck's tailgate and talk about your future. You imagine work, marriage, family, and eventually finding a place that feels completely yours. Neither of you knows how quickly those simple plans are about to become uncertain. September 10th ends quietly in Massillon, Ohio, without offering you any warning. You go to sleep believing tomorrow will look almost exactly like today. The next morning, a customer enters the garage and tells your father to turn on television. It is 8:51 a.m. and you are holding a torque wrench when everything suddenly changes. You watch the television with your father and several customers, trying to understand what happened. Then the second plane appears live on television, and distance suddenly stops protecting you. New York is thousands of miles away, yet somehow it feels right there inside your garage. Your father almost never swears, but this time he quietly swears once. Nobody in the room knows what to say while the television continues showing impossible images. The tools, cars, and unfinished repairs around you suddenly seem completely meaningless. The garage does not fix another car that day, because nobody knows what comes next. Across America, people gather around televisions in homes, schools, airports, workplaces, and gas stations. Millions of Americans watch the same images while trying to understand what their country has witnessed. Later, the streets around you feel strangely empty, as though America has stopped moving. Even in a small Ohio town, everyone seems to understand that something enormous has happened. That night, you sit on your truck's tailgate with Megan beneath the dark Ohio sky. You have watched airplanes cross Ohio your entire life, but tonight there are none. The sky is silent, and for the first time, you notice how loud normal life was. No blinking lights cross the stars, and no distant engines hum above the rooftops. Megan sits beside you, but neither of you knows what words could possibly explain this. The empty sky makes the attacks feel even more real, because the entire country seems frozen. September 12th arrives, and you stand outside a recruiting office in an Ohio strip mall. Several young men stand ahead of you, each carrying a different reason for being there. Nobody drafted you, and nobody forced you to walk through that door. You came because you decided that watching from home was no longer enough. Inside, the recruiter looks exhausted after days of answering the same questions across America. You listen carefully while he explains the commitment you are preparing to make. When you leave, you carry enlistment paperwork and a decision that cannot easily be reversed. You are still wearing civilian clothes, but part of your old life already feels distant. That evening, you sit at the kitchen table with your mother and father. You tell them what you have decided, while your mother struggles to hold herself together. She understands what you are choosing before you fully understand the danger yourself. Your mother looks at her 19-year-old son and realizes childhood has suddenly become much shorter. Then your father reaches across the table and takes your hand. He shakes it for a long time without saying anything, because words have stopped being useful. Megan does not argue with you, because she knows where your decision came from. She knows nothing she says can undo what happened on September 11th. So instead of stopping you, Megan stands beside you and tries to be brave. Outside your family's Ohio home, you stand together beneath the evening light. She looks at you with love and fear, while you pretend to feel completely certain. You hold Megan tightly, knowing your ordinary life together has suddenly become uncertain. Neither of you knows how many birthdays or quiet Friday nights remain before you return. A few days later, your town gathers for a candlelight vigil in the square. Families, teachers, neighbors, veterans, and children stand together holding candles and American flags. Someone passes a small flag through the crowd with a black marker. People begin writing their names across the fabric, one after another. A simple flag becomes a record of the people who watched their country change. You hold it carefully and recognize names from nearly every part of your childhood. Your coach signs it, your third-grade teacher signs it, and your grandfather adds his name. Half of Massillon seems to leave something behind on that tiny piece of fabric. You look at the fading signatures and realize this flag now carries your hometown with you. Later that night, you fold the flag carefully and place it inside a clear plastic bag. You do not know yet how far that little flag will eventually travel. You also do not know that its meaning will change long after the war begins. Before sunrise, you stand outside your family's house with your bag packed. Your mother tries not to cry, while your father struggles to stay strong. Megan stands beside them, watching you prepare to leave the life you once understood. You walk toward the waiting military transport carrying a simple duffel bag. Inside that bag is equipment, but inside you are carrying 19 years of memories. The military transport pulls away as Ohio slowly disappears behind you. Familiar houses become smaller, familiar roads fade, and your distance from home begins growing. Fort Benning is louder and harder than anything you expected from military life. You arrive with other recruits and quickly discover that the army has its own language. Your civilian clothes disappear, replaced by uniforms and equipment that make everyone look different. You look into a barracks mirror after your hair is cut short. The face staring back is still yours, but the Ohio kid is becoming harder to recognize. The yelling begins almost immediately, and every movement suddenly has a consequence. Drill instructors push you through a world where mistakes are noticed before excuses can exist. You run, train, carry equipment, and repeat movements until your body becomes completely exhausted. The Georgia heat feels relentless, but you slowly realize the army is training more than muscles. At night, the barracks becomes strangely quiet as exhausted recruits lie inside identical beds. Everyone pretends not to be homesick, because everyone already understands exactly what everyone else feels. You sit on your bunk and look at a photograph of Megan from home. For a few minutes, the barracks disappears, and you are back beside her in Ohio. Morning comes, and everyone falls into formation beneath the rising Georgia sun. You realize the person who arrived from Massillon is slowly becoming part of something larger. The army teaches you that even making a bed can become a test. Every corner must be perfect, every blanket tight, and every movement completely precise. You begin obstacle courses and physical training alongside recruits who were strangers only days earlier. Slowly, you stop thinking only about yourself and start learning how a unit depends upon everyone. After another exhausting day, you sit beside another recruit inside the barracks. Nobody talks much, because everyone is tired and nobody needs to explain missing home. That is where you really meet Ray Osmond, a wiry Kentucky kid called Oz. Oz has an easy personality and narrates everything around him like a fishing show host. He carries a spiral notebook filled with plans for the diner he will someday open. Oz talks about that diner as if it already exists somewhere beyond the army. He shows you plans for enormous biscuits, strong coffee, and a breakfast called the Full Kentucky. Every few days, Oz adds another idea to the notebook and refuses to stop dreaming. The pages become more than a menu, they become proof that there will be an after. Sometimes Oz pretends to serve imaginary customers inside the barracks just to make everyone laugh. For a few minutes, the army disappears, and you both imagine lives waiting beyond it. After lights out, you and Oz quietly discuss what you will do when everything ends. You both assume there will be an after, because at 19, the future still feels guaranteed. The army teaches another lesson, waiting, because military life seems built from endless lines. You wait for food, equipment, transportation, instructions, and eventually another line waiting afterward. In the chow hall, you eat quickly because the clock never gives you enough time. The food is forgettable, but the rhythm becomes familiar: eat, train, wait, sleep, repeat. During inspections, every tiny mistake suddenly matters, even when the mistake seems meaningless. You begin understanding that the army is reshaping the part of you that asks why. By evening, you and Oz sit outside the barracks while the Georgia sun disappears. For a few quiet minutes, you are simply two young men imagining lives beyond the uniform. Your platoon marches across the training grounds carrying equipment, moving together instead of separately. You are no longer the kid from the garage, you are part of a unit now. Before leaving Fort Benning, you pack your equipment and check everything one final time. Beneath the military gear is the small plastic bag containing the flag signed by Massillon.